Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Dr. Amna Husain, board certified pediatrician, board certified lactation consultant, and mom to two little girls, not four, two little girls. So I had my baby June 26th at 4:22 in the morning. She came at 39 weeks. I will be sharing a little bit more birth details probably during a live, but I wanted to let you guys know now that she's 12 days old, give you a little update on how I'm doing as mom to a newborn the second time around. So this time around, things seem to be going a lot better than I thought they'd be. And I think that's a couple of reasons why. I definitely feel like there's just so many things that are falling into place, maybe a little bit better, or even if they're different, I'm handling them better. So in this video, I thought I'd talk a little bit, of course, about breastfeeding and how that journey is going as a second-time mom. We'll talk a little bit about recovery because that was really important to me. I feel like that sort of swept me off my feet the first time around. I really didn't know anything about postpartum recovery. And then sort of my mental frame of mind and state of mind this time around, why things might be going a little better. So first off, let's talk about breastfeeding. Certainly, I was not a lactation consultant back in 2017. I was a third-year pediatric resident, and I did know quite a bit about the physiology and the medicine behind breastfeeding, but can I tell you, no babies ever latched onto me. I had no idea about the perfect latch. I did know about the warning signs if your baby wasn't getting enough breast milk, but I really didn't know about the very steep uphill learning curve when it came to breastfeeding a newborn. And it was super hard for me. So this time around, I was a lactation consultant, which definitely helped because I knew the anatomy and the perfect latch and the steps to get that perfect latch. On top of it, maybe I also had a baby who latched a little better. With Asia, I had to use a nipple shield, and it became very difficult for me to wean that nipple shield, and it also impacted my breastfeeding relationship because it became me, baby, and the nipple shield, and it was just like so stressful to always have this thing around. I definitely feel like having a baby that latched a little better and knowing a little bit more about the latch helped. I think in general too, trying to feed on demand. So I'd certainly fed my first on demand as well, but I think I probably introduced a pacifier a little earlier. And so this time as I've mentioned, my daughter is now 12 days old and I haven't introduced a pacifier yet. I think she would do fabulously with it because she has a great suck, and sometimes I can tell that suck is just all she needs to kind of like get her way down to sleep. So I will be introducing a pacifier, but I've held off on doing it. And with Asia, I did it very early on. Maybe it impacted how much I was feeding on demand. So maybe that wasn't the best thing to do. And I haven't done that this time around. So maybe that's another reason why I have a little bit more success. I do also feel like when it came to my milk production, obviously being a second-time mom, it came in close to day 3. And with Asia as a first-time mom, I think it came in close to day 5 or 6. So I did have to supplement a little bit, and we'll talk about that as well. But when it came in and I was engorged and feeling very uncomfortable, I pumped. And I've posted about this on TikTok before, but if you're a first-time mom and you've been going through that, I'm not producing enough milk, when you have that feeling of engorgement, you think, I struck gold and I'm gonna pump and I'm gonna make a lot for my freezer. But that can actually hinder really your progress, and you might get into an oversupply issue. That's certainly what happened to me. But if you're not doing triple feeds, and if you wanna know what triple feeds are, feel free to comment below and I'll make a future video on that. But there's other ways to really get through engorgement, like reverse pressure softening. And if you're not sure what that is, also comment below, let me know. I'll definitely create a video on that. But I was able to get through engorgement and still feed my baby on demand, and I have avoided getting into an oversupply issue. Now, talking about jaundice briefly, jaundice is very normal. It's the buildup of bilirubin, and trying to keep this less medical, I just want you to know that all newborns go through it. And I think as a second-time mom, my milk was able to come in a little faster, so I was able to actually feed through and get rid of her jaundice with my breast milk. First-time baby, I didn't have enough milk, so I used formula. And as a pediatrician, I'm very comfortable with parents who choose formula or breast milk. But personally, I took it upon myself as, I think I made it out to be something more than it needed to be. I made it out to be that, my milk wasn't coming in, I wasn't doing something right, the baby's latch wasn't right, she should have gotten through her jaundice by now. And I think I was just overwhelmed as a mom. I really didn't know what to expect. I wasn't scared of formula, but I think my mindset made me feel guilty about it for some reason, which is silly because she went on to be a formula-fed baby after 6 months of age. But in the beginning days, for some reason, I made it out to be something it didn't have to be. And this time around, we did end up introducing formula last night because she was nursing for 2 hours, and I was thinking, I really don't think I have anything at this point. And I had just recently frozen off a little bit of excess breast milk, so I didn't feel like defrosting it. And I just made formula, 2 ounces of it. And, I didn't make it out to be something bigger than it was. I just wanted my baby to be fed and satisfied at the end of the day. And for some reason at this point, I wasn't able to provide that for her because she had drained me of whatever I had. And I felt better about it. And I think that makes a big difference. So speaking about that, my frame of mind, I feel like, is much better this time around. I went in being very terrified of being a mom to 2 kids, especially because I really didn't want my daughter, who's 3.5, to feel neglected. And I just remember feeling so overwhelmed with feeds in the first few days with Asia. And I didn't feel this way this time around. I think, of course, there's moments where I could let that mom guilt get to me, especially because Asia has said things at times where she's like, I want daddy and not mommy. And that makes me feel like, oh, she sees that I'm with the baby and she maybe doesn't want me. But then I stop myself and I wonder, why am I letting myself think that way? She's loved. I know I love her. She knows I love her. Whatever, she's 3.5. Kids say these things and I move on. And I don't let myself feel down about that or beat myself up over those things. Same with just support around the house. Last time, I had my mom, of course, but like I said, delivery kind of took me for a whirlwind. I just wasn't aware of kind of what went into everything and how uncomfortable you might feel. So this time around, I was a little bit more prepared, and actually I've recovered better, I feel like, because I have been more prepared and doing all the right things. I think, again, having help around the house has made a big difference. So last time, obviously, we didn't have a nanny because we just had 1 baby, and a nanny didn't really come into our life until I went back to work. This time around, I have a 3.5-year-old. So baby came at 39 weeks. Our nanny was here, and she was able to really help Asia adjust and give her sort of continuity for, a few weeks of time, because when we came back from the hospital, I've just kind of been with the baby a little bit more so, and Zane's going to be heading back as well to work after his paternity leave's over. So we've had that continuity. In terms of practical things as well, that's really made a big difference is just like thinking through what's easy to wear while nursing. Right now I am wearing, sporting pajamas and a tank top and a robe from Old Navy. I also have a robe from Cozy Earth that was gifted. This one from Old Navy I bought. It has made such a big difference in terms of ease of nursing and feeling comfortable. It's July right now. It's super hot, and I still feel comfortable wearing something like this and a tank top underneath around the house. And some of my other big tips, let's see, besides just like prepping a little better this time around mentally, but also physically with recovery, but attire, of course, like I just mentioned, the robe. I feel like even this with the last time, a shower made a huge difference in how I felt. And that morning shower made me feel like a new person. Right now, I am wearing concealer and mascara, and that's it. But typically, I don't even wear that during the day. I just shower, change into new clothes, and it makes me feel so much better. It makes me feel like a new person. You know, I've put on my moisturizer, put on my sunscreen, and that's really it. But still, I feel like I've kind of wiped off all the nighttime feeding stress that kind of came with it, and I can start a day fresh. So that's kind of how I'm doing right now. I feel a lot better this time, and I think that there's just so many things that I did differently, and a lot of it was not just like labor, but like what I'm physically doing, like acts of labor, but just thoughts, you know, not being down on myself about things that I don't need to be down about, and trying to take things in stride and not always take things so much upon myself. One thing I've kind of told Zane is if he asks me something, I'll be like, yeah, it's not really high on my list of priorities right now. So I will get to it, but it's not super high on the list. And don't be afraid to ask for help. I've told Zane actually blatantly, if you see my water bottle laying around, your job is to please tank it up. Even if you think that it's halfway full, just tank it up. So I hope that was helpful, just to give you a rundown. I will be back with more in the future. Have a good one.